They said Omalashai was born with a face the spirits once rejected, a child whom even beauty turned its back on. While other maidens of Umokwe danced at moonlight draped in admiration, Omalachai walked with lowered eyes, mocked by those who believed beauty was a birthright. But fate, ever mysterious, stirred one Harmattan night when she entered the forbidden forest and met the spirits who offered her a dangerous gift. "Take beauty," they whispered, but beauty borrowed must one day be returned. This is the tale of the maiden who dared to borrow beauty from the spirits, a tale of vanity, jealousy, pride, sacrifice, and the true meaning of self-worth. The village of Umuokwe rested like a clay pot in the arms of hills and whispering palm trees. It was a land where the moon was worshipped with songs, where the drums spoke before the elders, and where beauty was not just admired, it was honored. In Umuokwe, a maiden's grace was her pride, and her face was her destiny. Every Iriji, New Yam festival, maidens adorned themselves with uli drawings, spirals of pride along their arms and cheeks, while the elders chose Ada Oma, the most beautiful daughter of the land. Winners were sung into legends, their names preserved like carvings on ancestral columns. Beauty here was not vanity, it was tradition, woven into the heartbeat of Umuokwe. But among these maidens lived one whose name stirred silence, not songs. Omalisha. Irony sat heavy on her name, for Omalisha meant beauty, yet she was born with a face the villagers whispered had been forgotten by chisels of the gods. Her skin bore uneven shades like cracked pots, her eyes slightly misaligned as though they never agreed on what to see. Children pointed, women pitied, men avoided. "How can beauty reject a child so completely?" one woman once murmured behind her back. "Her mother must have angered the river spirits," another whispered. Her father Pa Onwuakor, a palm wine tapper with kind eyes, never saw her flaws, only her gentle spirit. Her mother Nini Adaizi wept in secret, praying to Ani, the earth goddess, to smooth her daughter's face like wet clay. But the gods were silent. Omalisha walked with her head lowered, arms always folded as if shielding herself from unseen arrows. She carried burdens no mortal should bear, the burden of existing where beauty ruled. Yet within her, a quiet fire existed. She longed, not to be worshipped, but to be seen. Truly seen. She avoided moonlight dances. While others wore beads and jingled waist ties to attract suitors, she hid behind her mother's hut, listening to their laughter like a storm she could not enter. She pretended not to care, but when she washed her face alone at the stream, she would pause, stare, and whisper, "Why did the gods make me this way?" Her greatest pain was not loneliness. It was knowing she had love to give, but no one dared to receive it. She dreamed of walking into the village square without fear, of a day when someone would smile at her, not at her expense. Still, Umokwe remembered one thing. Above all, no maiden without beauty had ever found a husband. And no maiden without beauty was allowed to dance before the spirits. But fate, like a coiled python, waited for the night it would strike and change everything. That night was fast approaching. The Uhuru festival arrived with the grandeur of ancestral pride. It was the night when maidens danced for the gods, when warriors drummed their strength into the earth, and when the moon, Nwanyi Anwu, the celestial mother, bathed the village in silver blessing. Umuokwe gathered at the Ihu Ego Square, where a great fire blazed at the centre, surrounded by raffia mats and carved stools for elders. Colour adorned every maiden, waist beads rattled, anklets chimed, and uli patterns curled like sacred vines across soft skin. Laughter floated like palm wine foam. But Omalisha, against her usual nature, had come. Not to dance, no. She hid quietly at the fringes, wrapped in a plain brown wrapper, hair covered, watching the other maidens whirl before the moon. Something in her stirred that night, not envy, but hunger, the hunger to belong. The gong sounded. "Let all maidens approach," cried the town crier, Mazi Ugo. The maidens lined up, each glowing like a calabash of oil. Among them were Akuoma, with skin like smooth ebony, Nkiru, the pride of Umudaiki, and Ugochi, whose smile had stolen half the warriors' hearts. They glanced at one another in jestful rivalry. Then a cruel voice sliced through the night. "Where is Omalicha?" Laughter followed. "Perhaps she is afraid the moon will flee." Heads turned. Eyes found her half hidden in shadow. A young man, Okafor the wrestler, yelled, "Bring her! Let the spirits see what they rejected." Omalicha froze. Before she could move, Akuoma and Nkiru, the haughty maidens, approached her with mocking grace. "Come, Omalicha," Nkiru cooed, a smile as sharp as a blade. "Do not hide your face of mystery." The crowd snickered. They pulled her forward, not in kindness but cruelty dressed as jest. And there, before the blazing fire, under the moon that judged all, she stood trembling. Akuoma stretched out her clay-painted hand. "Smile for us," she said. "Show Umuokwe the beauty your mother sees." The crowd erupted. Warriors laughed. Children pointed. Even some elders shook their heads in pity. Someone shouted, "Does she not look like a broken pot?" Another, "The spirits must have forgotten her halfway." Omalika's vision blurred. Tears welled, but she would not let them fall. She looked around. No face offered mercy, not one. Then she did something unexpected. She lifted her chin. For a moment, her eyes carried fire. But pride could not hold back pain. She turned, fleeing through the crowd, their laughter chasing her like stones. She ran past the square, past huts, past the shrine, until she reached the ancient Ukpaka tree where the moonlight thins. There she collapsed to her knees, fists clenched in the red earth. And with a voice no longer trembling, she whispered, "I will not remain their mockery." There she collapsed to her knees, fists clenched in the red earth. And with a voice no longer trembling, she whispered, "I will not remain their mockery. I will find a way, even if it leads beyond the world of men." The wind shifted. Somewhere deep in the unseen, something heard her. The night after the festival felt heavier than most, not just with sorrow but with summoning, as though unseen eyes had marked Omalika's tears and followed her home. She could not sleep. The mockery still echoed in her ears, louder than any drum. By dawn her spirit felt like dry clay, cracked, begging for water. She rose before the first cockcrow and left her mother's hut barefoot, drawn by something she could not name. She walked past the communal stream, past the farmlands still veiled in morning mist, until the path thinned, and only tall udala trees and whispering bamboo remained. She had entered Anioma Forest, the forest forbidden to maidens. Even the wind there spoke differently. Just as she turned to leave, she heard a voice. "Nwanyinanta, small girl, why does sorrow tie your feet to spirit's land?" Omalika froze. From the shadows emerged Nwanaka, the old wife of Dibia Odogwu, the most feared spiritual custodian in Umuokwe. Her back was bent like an unanswered prayer, but her eyes were mirrors of unseen worlds. Omalisha bowed instinctively. "Mama, forgive me. I am lost." Monica studied her. "No, child. You are seeking. But do you know what you seek?" Tears burned behind Omalika's eyes. "I seek to stop being this. I seek to be seen, to be wanted." A long silence. The old woman nodded slowly, sadness flickering across her wrinkled brow. "Beauty," she whispered, "has driven more souls to the spirits than death ever has." She came closer, voice dropping to a tremor. "Do you know of Uhamiri?" Omalisha shook her head. Monika's eyes drifted beyond the trees, as though she saw the spirit realm shimmering behind them. Uhamiri, the lake of the spirit maidens, where reflections are bargains, where faces can be borrowed, but never owned. Omalisha's heart pounded. "Is it real?" she breathed. The old woman stepped back, grip tightening on her staff. "It is real enough to damn you." She leaned in, voice low, half warning, half memory. "They will offer you beauty, yes, a face the world will worship. But remember, child, what the spirits give, they must one day take back, and spirits do not return empty-handed." Omalika's lips trembled. "What if—" "I am willing." Silence. For the first time, fear flashed in Wanaka's eyes. "Then make your peace before you go, Omalisha. Because the girl who drinks from Uhamiri never returns as the same woman." The wind howled through the bamboo, carrying an unseen laughter. Omalika turned towards the direction of the spirit lake. Her fate had answered her tears. She would go, even if it meant walking beyond the edge of mortality. Night fell like a shroud over Umuokwe, but Omalisha did not sleep. While others retired to their mats, she quietly wrapped herself in her mother's old shawl, slipped out of the compound, and followed the hidden path Monica had once silently pointed toward, the path that led to Uhamiri. The forest at night was alive in ways daylight could never reveal. Owls hooted warnings. The tall Iroko trees stood like ancient guards. Fireflies moved in slow circles, as though guiding a forbidden traveller. Yet Omalisha did not tremble. Humiliation had burned away her fear. She carried only one prayer. "Let me be beautiful, just once, in this lifetime." After what felt like an eternity, she reached it. Uhamiri, the spirit lake. The water glowed, not with moonlight, but with its own ghostly silver. Mist curled above it like dancing spirits, and no wind disturbed its surface. There were no frogs, no crickets, only silence, thick, pulsing, aware. Omalisha stepped forward, and there she saw it, the mirror in the water. It showed her face, twisted, weary, swollen with tears, and as she gazed, grief rose like a knot in her throat. "Why?" she whispered to the gods. "Why create me only to laugh?" Then her reflection blinked. She stumbled back. It blinked again, slowly, sadly, and then it smiled, but not her smile. A voice rippled through the lake. "Do you wish to be seen, child of dust?" Omalisha's breathing ceased. She could not speak. The waters parted without a ripple, and from it emerged a figure draped in shimmering veil, Adana, the river spirit of broken faces, beautiful beyond human comprehension, yet her face shimmered and changed with each breath. One moment perfect, the next fractured like porcelain. Her voice was both lullaby and thunder. I am she who collects tears of the unseen. Why do you call me? Omalika sank to her knees. I want beauty, she whispered. I want to be worthy of love. Adana's eyes, shifting, knowing, narrowed. Mortals crave what they cannot carry. Beauty is not a jewel. It is a debt. The lake darkened. If I grant you beauty, it will not be yours. It will be borrowed. One day I will return for it. Omalisha swallowed. Take anything, my nights, my dreams. Only let them look at me. Without mockery. For a moment the spirit was silent. Then slowly she extended a hand of glimmering water touching Omalika's forehead. So be it. From this night the world shall kneel before your face. But remember, beauty borrowed must be returned, and spirits never collect empty-handed. Omalika shuddered as something cold surged through her veins. Pain, then fire, then nothing at all. Her vision blurred. Faces, voices, memories swirled. Then, silence. She fell unconscious by the lake. Behind her, the spirit of broken faces watched and whispered. May she survive the price.